Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with San Francisco-based jazz pianist and flautist Gaea Schell. She delved into her new 2023 CD, In Your Own Sweet Way. She is known amongst her peers for swinging eighth notes, subtle phrasing, and contemplative writing. She is originally from Alberta, Canada, where she grew up playing music from an early age. Recorder lessons at 6 with the family friend. The late San Francisco-based drummer Eddie Marshall was one of her first musical ventures. She's got a great story. Enjoy this interview.
Well, Gaea, thank you for taking a minute out. It's great to meet you. I appreciate you taking time out for the show today.
Of course.
So before we get into your latest album and your life and music, I want to know, how did you survive COVID? How did you get through that time period? And how has it changed the way that you live your life now?
Lots of different answers. I, at first, was very happy with the whole shutdown because for me it meant peace and quiet, and could think, and it would have been a great time to actually get into, really composing and writing music, at home, but I had somebody else in the living room working from home as well, so I couldn't really access my piano too much, actually, funny enough. So I started swimming in the ocean, and just being outside more than I normally was and just really enjoying the quiet and the peace. And then I got a little bit restless, and I started thinking about what I was, what I should do. And I started a master's degree in music composition. And then I really wanted to play more Cuban flute, and I had met this group in Mexico, and so I kept flying sort of back and forth during the pandemic and playing with them in central Mexico. So then I got really busy with different things and different projects, and applied for some grants, and actually got this grant to record this new CD.
So talk to me about this new project. What was kind of the artistic force behind it, and how relieving is it to have this come out now kind of in this post-pandemic era of our lives?
Well, the grant, one of two grants actually I applied for and got, the Chamber Music America one. It wasn't actually specifically to record a CD. That wasn't what it was for, but it was for, to work with my quartet with Benny Green, my chosen person for us to work with. And we had to work on, and then we did have to record a demo at least of, all of the compositions I specified, basically. And it couldn't be anything else. So it had to be, the same personnel and the same compositions. And, these things kind of take time. And by the time you end up doing it, you might be in a little bit of a different place. But this was just a collection, of new compositions, mostly during the pandemic, written, some written in conjunction with the music composition degree, and very, very inspired by, peace and quiet and nature and just all of the things that generally inspire me, romance. And I'm very inspired by all of and the tradition and the great masters of the art form, of course, but I am just very personally inspired by other things too.
So tell me, yeah, absolutely. So tell me, how did this journey into the jazz begin for you? How did you get into it? How did it take shape and become who you are?
Journey into jazz in general, you mean?
Yeah, that and music, both of them. I think they're intertwined, but yeah, for both of them, yeah.
Kind of from like a young age, yeah. I grew up playing classical piano from a very young age, and I played harp as well. Different instruments, even bassoon for a minute in junior high school. I was an alto saxophonist, actually, when I was a teenager, and that's kind of when I first, heard Bird, and I first transcribed a Phil Woods solo, actually. And that was when I really first started loving jazz and going out to hear, live music. And I was playing in big bands. Like there was a citywide big band growing up, Little Birds big band, and just had good educators and good players around growing up at the time. And this was in Edmonton, Alberta. And, but I was also really focused on the classic. I was a classical harp major first in college. But then I would go out and hear this jazz trio that I really liked, and I just really wanted to play jazz. And then I transferred to a jazz program as a jazz pianist, and I just kind of ended up focusing on that.
I'm curious, what was the first live jazz show that you ever saw that really blew you away, that made you either think you wanted to do this for a living or it really inspired you?
That is a hard one. For some reason, I can't really recall a specific live one. Or
one that you remember, anything.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing local players even, like PJ Perry, great alto player in town. He would play often. I don't know, maybe it was local. I was probably first inspired by hearing local players in the area. Charlie Austin, great pianist up in Canada.
So for you, what stage, what, venue, or what period in your life did you feel like you had arrived, or that this was your calling and you were happy that you made the choice to do this?
I've always felt like definitely it was a, calling, and it was what I had to do, which many of us, I think, feel. But saying it's the right choice is a tough one because it's such a hard life,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a little bit of a tough one. I mean, I've always kind of done multiple things, and as a side person, as a pianist, I've always been able to get work, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so what is it that you like the best about being a professional musician? What is it that you look forward to? What is kind of the motivation for you?
Sure. I mean, the motivation for me is, when you get to play with people you love playing with, and that musical connection, and, getting to play at a high level, where you feel like you can do anything. It would be the feeling I would have sometimes. On the bandstand, you feel it's very freeing, and you can really stretch out. And when the time is really locked in, when it's really super swinging and grooving, and I mean, that's probably why many of us love it, doing it so much, I would say.
So over the years, you played with a lot of people. What is it that you've learned from the elders, legends, luminaries, so to speak, that you try to pass on to younger players that you're around?
Well, based on what I was just saying, it's really very much about a collective and listening, and, space, and not playing too much, and, transcribing, listening, experience, playing with the best elders you can find to play with, for sure.
Yeah. So if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see any jazz musician anywhere, where are you going to go? Who are you going to see?
Well, I mean, to just start, some of the ones that I never got to see Bill Evans live or Oscar Peterson live, or I love Cuban music so much. I would love to be back in time there, at the right time when that was really happening.
Yeah. So, why do you love jazz?
Well, for all the swing, it's the time and the swing that's just the first. It's the rhythm for me, and obviously it's harmonically incredible and so rich, and but it's the timbre of the different instruments too. And
so everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, but ultimately you're in control of your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
These are difficult questions, I have to say, especially when it's early for me in the day.
Yeah.
My perception of who I am. It's so general. I'm a very, I don't know, I feel like I'm more just me, and, as a person, and honest, and just somebody who dislikes small talk and wants to go deeper, for sure. And I'm definitely introverted, and I just love enjoying being outside with animals and nature, and I'm in love with sunsets and sea turtles, and someone who is still searching, I guess, always searching for the right musical situations. And right now I'm so in love with Cuban flute and playing that music. I just love it. Very much energizes me, and I just love it.
Excellent. So if anyone out there wants to pick up the new album, learn more about you, anything pertaining to your world, live music, where can they go?
Well, they can go to the label it's on. I don't think it's not on there yet, because it obviously is not released yet, or my website. Those two places.
Okay, good deal. Hey, well, thank you for taking a minute out to talk about the album and your life and music. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in San Francisco, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.